Okay, so I'm going to use Aptana Studio to go ahead and code out my HTML header. One thing you'll want to notice here is I've already created my project. So I have a folder called IU header. Inside that folder I have my images, which I'll only be using these 4 images to create that header. I have a lib folder, CSS folder, which houses my style sheet, my reset style sheet, and then a JS folder. So let's go ahead and create this index file, and we're just going to go ahead and create a very simple HTML5 document so we can get started on our coding. First thing we need to do is start off with our doc type, add in our HTML tags. Inside of our HTML tags we need to have a head tag, and of course our title. Outside of our head tags, let's put our body tags. I'm just going to open that up a couple lines so that I can start creating this document. Now let's go ahead and go back to our layout that we have that we drew our boxes on. And remember that we drew one large box around this entire header area, which we're going to name as, or which we're going to tag as our header. And inside of that we have these 5 different divs or elements that we're going to be putting inside that. So back in Aptana, we know that we're going to have a header. So let's go ahead and create that. And inside the header, I'm going to go ahead and resize my windows here. If you take a look at our header up here, we have an IU logo, campus text, and then the department text. And of course we have these 2 navigational items over here on the right hand side. So I know now that I need to create divs inside of the header tag to encompass these different elements that I have. So the first one that I'm going to put in is this IU logo, and I can just call that div logo. Next one is going to be this IU Kokomo text. And I'll go ahead and add in that text now. And then the next one is going to be for the department, which is the library. Oops. Alright, so I've got those 3 elements inside the header. Those are the 3 elements on the left-hand side of that header. Now I need to put in these 2 areas for the right-hand side of that. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a div for this area up here, which I'm going to go ahead and call my navigation for the header. And then the next box I need to add in is this item here, which is for our search box. I'll go ahead and call that search. And now you can see that we have the beginning of our HTML5 document. So the next thing we need to do here is we need to add in our navigation items. So if you take a look at our mockup again, we have these 2 navigation items and all of the links that are inside of them. Now, one of the best ways to do links inside of HTML is to do them inside of UL tags. So unordered lists and LI tags to go ahead and create these 2 navigation items. So let's go ahead and put that into our HTML. So the first thing we need to do is open up this navigation div, which is basically this area here. So we need to add in those 3 links. I'm going to go ahead and do that by doing that in a UL tag. Now the first one was hours, second one was contact, and the last one was ask a librarian. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing over here in the search box. You can see we have to add these 3 links, or these 2 links, as well as a form item over here. So let's go ahead and put those in. Now this last list item here, if you remember, is just an input field. So I need to actually turn this into a form. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that A tag. And I'm going to go ahead and add in my form tag here. And the first one is going to be, it's just going to be an input field. And that's just a basic tag for an input field here that I'm using. You can add a lot more to it, but I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the basics for now. Okay, so if we take a look at what we have here, I can go ahead and open this up in a browser. And you can see that we have a very basic layout. Okay, we don't have any CSS attached to it, so that's what we need to go ahead and do now. Okay, before we move on to the CSS, let's go ahead and add in one last thing. We still have to add in the logo image. So let's go ahead and open up that div class logo and put in our image tag. And now we're ready to go ahead and code our CSS.